you recently ordered two 50,000 deadweight MR product tankers in Korea. Is that interesting for a U.S. owner, a U.S. flag owner, to be placing an order in Korea? Not that you haven't been there before with Tanker Pacific and otherwise. But I think the move took some by surprise in this sense that if I'm understanding this correctly, you currently use two U.S. flag tankers outside the Jones Act to transport Government of Israel jet fuel cargoes. Those contracts, I believe, are scheduled to end this year, and there's been no public indication of them being extended or renewed. And the tankers that you currently use to service them, the Mykonos, Overseas Mykonos and Overseas Santorini, are not exactly elderly at less than 9 years old each. So to some observers, the new building order may appear speculative. What can you say to address such analysis? What do you have in mind for the new buildings? And more specifically, if you can, what's happening with the Israeli business?
So there are a couple of things that I think are important to understand that lie in the background of why we decided to order new ships in Korea. Most of them are driven by the cost structure of operating in the United States and evaluating certain things that need to be done versus the same as it exists overseas. And then as well, the challenges, I tell people, I don't know if anybody here has ever renovated their home. I recently went through renovating my home in Miami, and I can tell you with extreme experience that renovations always take twice as long and cost twice as much as you think they're going to cost, and it always, in hindsight, looks like you should have just torn the house down and built a new one. So having gone through that experience with my home and looking at some of the challenges that we face for the Mykonos and Santorini, we have to install ballast water treatment systems for these vessels. We have to take them through their second special survey under U.S. flag, and we have to consider seriously the retrofitting of emission control systems, or at least we think that that's an important part of any future internationally trading vessel because of what we think is going to be a significant fuel cost differential, at least in the beginning parts of the IMO 2020 fuel regimes. So when we looked at all the capital that was necessary to invest in the vessels to achieve that, and we looked at building new with all of that already integrated, including Tier 3 engines across all of the engines on board, including the generators and the main engines, complying with the SOx emissions through scrubbers that would be fitted within the stack of the vessel rather than some of the retrofits are huge installations outside of the funnel stack and take significant structure to be able to accommodate. And then the ballast water treatment systems, which we would have to retrofit for the Mykonos and Santorini. Frankly, the economics were very compelling to go and build new rather than retrofit. And so that was the principal driver behind going ahead and building new vessels. And then, not to repeat myself, but now we see we have a very interesting set of options that are available to us. We can trade those vessels internationally if we want. They're being built to Marshall Islands flag. We can swap them for the Mykonos and Santorini if that looks like a good opportunity for us. Or indeed, I think those of you here heard Admiral Busby speak this morning. There is a groundswell for trying to increase the number of U.S. flag vessels. And if programs were to develop over the next year or two that would create the right kinds of incentives for us to increase the number of U.S. flag, non-Jones Act U.S. flag vessels that we had in our fleet, that was something that we would look very favorably at. So, we thought that the cycle timing in terms of asset price of ordering new vessels was good. We also get a very favorable delivery position in the second half of next year. So the ships will be well positioned to benefit from what we think is going to be a significant disruption in fuel price at the end of 2019 and early 2020. And then we have optionality going forward in terms of either replacing or extending our position in the non-Jones Act U.S. flag business.